after such a long time.
Yes.
So I guess I need to say that I met Laia many years ago in Barcelona, and we were colleagues for a while at the at the portal of of the European portal of European Union. Let me say a few things about her. She's a professor. She has a PhD in linguistics from the Graduate Center of the City University of New York. After she worked After she worked as a teacher of Spanish and academic writing at Hunter College, Brooklyn College, and New York University. She was professor in the Department of Language Teaching at the university. Which one is this?
Autonomous
University of Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Okay. She is currently professor at the Open University of Catalonia, and she collaborates as a professor of English and master courses at as I see here, at the Master in Technology Mediated Language Teaching and Learning, and does research on task-based language teaching and learning mediated by technology. So this is a very interesting master, and I think she has a really wonderful, let's say, CV. So nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too, Maria.
And let's see also Carmen. Carmen Holotescu, she is also the Dean of the Ion Slavici University of Timisoara and Director of the Center of Open Education and Blockchain in Romania. Carmen, can you hear us as well? Or no? Okay. So Carmen is a professor and dean at the Faculty of Engineering, a director of the Center of Open Education and Blockchain, and she has a PhD on new technologies and open education. She has participated in many European projects and has a rich experience in designing and implementing learning and collaborative platform based on open pedagogies. She has written over 100 articles and chapters, books related to learning, blended learning, okay? And she's also an online and certified instructor of the University of Maryland University College of USA, facilitating for 12 years and online courses at this university. We will speak with Carmen later after our break. For now, Lai, I don't know if you want also to add something more regarding your background.
Yeah, well, now I'll start my presentation and I'll say a few more things about me.
Okay, yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here today.
Sure. Do I need extra permissions to be able to share my screen?
Okay, I think that we can start with your presentation. So I will make you host of the event so that you can upload your presentation, or even better, share your screen. Okay.
All right.
Now sorry, I made the wrong person. Okay. Now you are presenter.
Okay.
So just below the available slide, you will find share the screen and you can start. And again, thanks for your participation in this multiplier event.
Okay, thank you.
I will just suggest me and Maria, maybe we can just switch off our camera. Otherwise, too many cameras on and it could create some problems to the platform. Okay, thanks, Maria. And please, Laia, the stage is yours.
Okay. Please let me know if you can see my slides.
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Maria, for inviting me to share my thoughts and my experiences with online learning. And well, she introduced myself very well, so I'm just going to say a few more things. I work at the Open University of Catalonia, where we teach languages and teach courses, degrees, fully online, and we have been working fully online for 25 years now. So picking on to what Antonio was saying, many people have been forced in the last year and a half to move to online, whereas we have been, teaching online for a very long time. And I just want to mention this to, this is the context of my research and my teaching practice. So that this is clear. And a lot of things of that I'm going to share with you today have to do with this, have to do with having to operate in that online world. And all the research we do is related to that. And besides, being a language teacher, a teacher trainer, I have, before being a researcher and a university professor, I was a language teacher for many years. I was teaching Spanish as a foreign language, and then also English as a foreign language. So mainly, I have that background even before being a researcher. So I would like you to have your phones ready, because I'm not going to only be talking myself, and I want to have a sense of who you are. So I'm going to ask you to, have your phones ready, or obviously you're in front of your screen, so you can tell me a little bit about you, right? So I would like you to go to this website, mentimeter.com, and just enter that code. Alternatively, you can also scan the code. And I would like to know who you are, right? Basically, what you teach. So if I'll give you a little time to do that, to see if you can manage. Because in the presentations, I not only want to be speaking, I will, a couple times I will ask you to tell me something about you. So so we have one researcher so far. It means that somebody has.
Sorry, Laia, sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
But we can't see the number to be put there.
Oh, okay. Let me move this out. Oops.
No, you.
How about now?
Now we can see the previous slide, so you can share again your screen. But yes, there was the toolbar about stop sharing, and it was exactly in front of the codes.
Okay, so I'm gonna start sharing again.
Okay.
Wait, hold on a second.
Because I was thinking about putting the code in the chat, which can be easier for the participants, but I just stopped at the fourth number.
Yeah.
Maybe Alexander has it.
Do you have it now? Do you see it now?
Not yet, so you should start again sharing your screen.
I thought I was sharing my screen. Okay, sorry. I will also enter it here in the chat.
Perfect.
Here.
Yeah, once you click on start sharing, then you have to confirm, and you have to choose
maybe I didn't confirm. Okay.
Which window we are going to see.
Okay, I will do that. But I think I entered all the information in the chat.
Yeah, thanks for this.
It tells me that I'm sharing now my entire screen. So can you see it?
No, before it was perfect, but now no more.
All right, I'll try again then. Share screen, allow.
Now it's in, okay.
Okay, all right.
Perfect.
So I see that at least one person was able to do that. Okay.
Okay. So thanks for this, please.
Yes, okay. All right, so we have one researcher, one educational technologist. I was hoping to see foreign language teachers. All right. And you can select more than one. I mean, you can be more than one. You have more than one role. So feel free to, share more than one. All right. So we have researchers, mostly university professors. All right, educational technologists. Okay, I think that should be it. Going back to my slides, and I hope you see them still. All right, so I'm going to now tell you a little bit of what I'm going to be talking about today, right? So first, I will tell you a little bit about the context of my work, the context of mainly teaching languages online at the Open University, and some of the issues and problems that we are trying to overcome, and the ways we do that, and the implications this has for our teaching and connected with our research. I will try to go quick over some of the slides. So mainly, we teach several languages: English, French, German, Chinese, Japanese, Catalan, and Spanish. And we use the Common European Framework as a basis for dividing the levels and to grade our students. We follow a task-based language teaching approach, and we mainly operate within this wide university educational model, which is and has been asynchronous online education for, like I said, for like 25 years. We've been doing that. And that has some implications for our methodology and the way we teach, right? So we teach and we follow, like I said, task-based, and we want to offer our students real communicative situations. But what do I mean by real in an online environment, in a virtual environment, right? So real in that sense for us, and now I would say for everyone, would be writing forum messages, obviously similar to emails, but also group messages. It means looking up information online, doing self-corrected exercises, and use other online resources, but also the interactive part and the communicative part, which is chat with classmates and do some collaborative work. Um, because we believe in an active and participatory methodology for learning a language, right? The tasks that we suggest our students or that we propose or that we design are both oral and written, and they are individual tasks and there are group tasks, right? I left a few videos here in case Maria and Antonio want to share the slides afterwards with all of you. You'll be able to see the videos, but I don't think now I'll spend time on that. So I'm going to go ahead and go on into the next screen. We also have a master's, Maria mentioned, that we started last year, and it's a master's for teachers, language teachers. So this master's specifically provides them with some extra training on how to teach languages with the use of technology, and so that technology is applied to improve language teaching. And we take a critical stance on the use of technology. We don't use technology for the sake of using technology. We use technology for a reason, right? So one main thing that we faced since the beginning of our university, especially in online language courses, is how to practice certain skills online, right? So reading, writing, and even listening have been increasingly easier to practice online. You know, there are self-correcting exercises, there are forum discussions, there are Google documents that we can use to do collaborative writing. But for the spoken skills, we have, you know, we needed to create and sometimes adopt different technologies that allowed our students to produce, right, a spoken language. One of them is called Langblock, and it's some sort of a forum discussion, but with video. So students send each other's videos, and that was very useful for us to do this spoken production where students can upload the videos at their own time. But then we were missing one bit, which was the spoken interaction. And so what we've been asking our students to do is mainly to meet online. Remember, this is an asynchronous university, so we don't meet our students online. We don't do lectures, right? So we ask them to meet online and do some sort of spoken interaction based on tasks that we suggest they do, right? So the spoken interaction like that happens on Skype or any other video conferencing is the type of spoken interaction that we managed to do in our type of teaching. So we know that oral interactions in class look like this, right? So you have the teachers just walking around a room of full of people practicing with each other, talking to each other, right? Now, I was thinking of applying this oral interaction in class and outside class to not only to my university, but to the world, right? What's happening now in the world? What do we have now available, right? So I was thinking about hybrid contexts, not only my context in my university, but any context that any teacher might have today. Students can go and do this oral interaction through a tablet, through social media, and also obviously, like we mentioned, on Skype, on any other video conferencing system. And this is the other way around. Okay, so mainly before we were being able to even use text on our phones. Now we can use audios and even just videos on our phone. So the availability of all these means of especially producing oral interaction have increased a lot. And this is what I want to emphasize, that whatever I'm going to explain to you is what we do at our institution, but I think it can be translated into all these other contexts where you can use the same ideas that we do, applied to your context. So another way that we found of motivating students and providing students opportunities to practice their oral skills and their oral interaction is virtual exchanges or telecollaborative exchanges. And this is what we have been using. For instance, in my classes, is we connect students with students who are learning English elsewhere, or we also do tandem type of collaborative tasks where we have our students who are Spanish speakers practice their English with native English speakers, and the native English speakers practice their Spanish with our students. So we have this tandem collaborative type of exchanges. I won't go over a lot of detail on the types of virtual exchanges and the modalities, but basically there's a lot of variety, there's a lot to choose from, and in terms of the types of exchanges, in terms of the participants that you join so that they can speak together online, the skills that you can practice, the tools that you can use, and the type of tasks that you can ask them to carry out, right? So what we've been doing is mostly I've been working with a Canadian institution, and I've taken part in like 3 virtual exchanges now, and this is sort of my experience that since we started a bit late, I won't go into detail about, but mainly the outcome is the same. We have spoken production of students who record themselves speaking online, doing this type of tasks, right? And then they send us their recordings for us to assess, right? So here I'm going to leave you a little bit of the problems that you can run into when you do this type of exchanges, and also a list of publications that I've done based on this experience, where you can see it, you can read it. It's very well explained, but I won't go into detail about this. My interest is in how do we provide feedback to this type of oral interactions, both the classroom type where students meet on Skype and speak to one another, record the conversations and send it to us, or also the conversations of these virtual exchanges where students interact with students in another institution online through online means. So basically, I'm gonna just mention how providing effective feedback in online oral interactions is so challenging. I mean, it's obvious that it's challenging because we cannot be there with our students, right? But my thinking is, even if we are there with our students, right, on site, when you have a teacher and you have many students practicing their oral skills or interactive skills with other students, it's also challenging, right? I mean, the teacher cannot be in the same place many times listening to different groups of students. So I think it's challenging everywhere to provide feedback to online interaction. And what I'm going to present to you is ways that we found that we could do that more or less effectively, right? All right, so I'm going to tell you about our experience, but first I'm going to ask you if you have experience teaching online. How would you correct this type of tasks that take place outside the classroom? And here I mean not only Skype interactions, but also if you use WhatsApp groups to do some oral practice, if you use social media so that students can do this, how do you correct this, right? So I'm going to ask you to go again to this website, and I'm going to see if I can allow you to use the next slide. Sorry. Okay, let's see. I think I went away from what I wanted. I don't know if you can vote in the poll, but give me a second. I'll let you. I'll give you time. Because
Laia, if you need any support, please let me know.
Okay, thank you. I think I have to go back in to my presentations and allow you to vote on the next poll. Because my screen was stuck in that first slide. Okay. So I'm just going to the next slide so that you can actively.
There are not just advantages in using this kind of
I know.
technology. There should be some disadvantages. Otherwise.
Yes. I don't know if now you can see and you can participate in this second one. I'm going to check it also on my phone. If I can. Okay, so it seems I'm not being able to manage this. So basically, I wanted to ask you how you would basically correct this type of practices, right? So if you feel like, and since we cannot use this conference pool system, if you want to write it on the chat, feel free. If not, I'm going to go ahead and continue my presentation and tell you about the ways we do it, and maybe we can discuss briefly afterwards the ways you've been doing, or if you want to share your experiences, okay? So I'm going to continue my presentation. I hope you can see my screen. Antonio, tell me if you cannot.
Yes, sure.
Okay. All right. So I'm going ahead with the presentation, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what research tells us about feedback and about research on second language acquisition. What does this research tell us? is mainly that feedback has a positive effect, right? So it has an effect on the acquisition, on second language acquisition. And before, like, the studies were focused mainly on finding whether there was an effect of the feedback. And once there has been a consensus that it does have a facilitative role.
Laia, sorry again, but maybe you should share again your screen, because for the time being we can see the previous. Not yet.
Okay.
Every time you you
every
close it, you have to start sharing again. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Now it is okay. Now better.
Yes?
Sorry.
Okay. Thank you for
Sometimes
letting me know.
I have to interrupt.
Yeah, no problem at all. I think that makes it lighter, because this now comes a bit of theory. So, what I was trying to say is that it has been established that corrective feedback has a facilitative role in second language acquisition, and now the focus of research has been trying to define where exactly this facilitative role comes from, right? So, is it the type of feedback that we provide? Is it the target form we are trying to learn? So some forms in the language are easier than others to acquire. Are there cognitive reasons, more affective reasons? There's the role of also the individuals, different individuals. The feedback is more effective in some and not others, based on memory and other cognitive aspects. There's also the aspect of what tasks and where do we provide feedback on different tasks. And also there's the timing. And for us, the timing of the feedback is very important, because we operate like I said, in an asynchronous online teaching mode. So if you cannot meet your students at the time of the interaction, how can you provide feedback that has a good timing? And by good timing, I'm going to explain what I mean. So there's a difference, they say, between immediate feedback and delayed feedback. So the immediate feedback allows teachers to focus on the form that they want to correct, especially in language learning, where we want to, them to notice if they produce any forms that are not accurate. So it's been said that immediate feedback has certain characteristics that make it more effective, and that delayed feedback has other benefits sometimes, but it has a completely different benefit and very different characteristics from immediate feedback, right? So there have been studies that have been comparing both of them. Oh, sorry, there's some Spanish that slipped in the presentation. So some studies have shown no difference between immediate and delayed feedback, and by immediate feedback I mean feedback provided right after the student produces a non-accurate form, right? And delayed feedback, it can be after the task, it can be one day after the task, it can be 1 week after the task. So delayed has many different meanings, right? Some studies say, like I said, there's no difference between immediate and delayed feedback. Some other studies, though, have seen the advantage for immediate feedback over delayed feedback, right? And I'm going to detail them here. But mainly what they've seen is that as the time increases, the effectiveness of the feedback decreases. And this has been a consistent finding. Even if you provide immediate feedback, even if you provide delayed feedback, I mean, the longer you take to provide feedback, the less effective, right? So we are operating in this theoretical mindset and thinking, are there ways that we can provide feedback in our type of asynchronous teaching that can retain some of these immediacy conditions that we think are more beneficial, right? And we have found a way. We have found a way of providing feedback in these interactive tasks, is that the students, like I said, they send us the recordings, and we have the teachers provide feedback as they watch the recording with a very simple screencasting tool. And then we send the students the video of themselves with the added feedback of the teacher watching their videos, right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit of the objectives of doing this, and I'm going to show you how it looks like, because it's a bit difficult to get your head around on how this works really. It's very simple to do. It's a bit difficult to explain. So so in our context, we have the same question. So how can we provide feedback effectively and efficiently in our interactions when we have this asynchronous mode, right? So we don't meet all students online. So it's the same question. It's a different question, but the same answer, right? Recording, watching that recordings and giving the feedback right on top of that recording. How does it look like? So basically there's a video recording, right, which is linear, and then while the teacher watches that recording of the two students, stops the recording and provides feedback on top of that. How is that done? That is done with a simple screencasting tool. It's called Screencast-O-Matic, but you can use any other screencasting tool. And you basically watch the video and record you watching the video. So if you want to see how it looks like, this is an example of an A2 instructor providing feedback. I don't know if you'll be able to hear, but I think you will be able to get the gist of what the teacher is doing. The teacher is down here, right? And the students are having this interaction online. Okay, I don't know if you could hear everything. So basically the teacher down here is watching the interaction and recording herself watching the interaction. And at some point when she hears something that she wants to comment on or correct, stops the recording of the students talking and speaks herself. And this creates another video that is being sent to the students to watch. So we think this has a lot of benefits, because students can see themselves again in that communicative event where they produced that type of error, and with the student giving the feedback, right? We think this is also beneficial for our teachers who have a lot of students and a lot of tasks to grade. But we wanted to make sure, and we wanted to ask them, doing a small pilot, what they thought of this way of correcting oral interactions, right? We thought that for stitches it would be fewer steps to correct, and it would give them a chance to explain the feedback better, so that you know that we think this is more effective. Is the way they were doing it before is they had to watch the entire thing, take notes, and then send the students either a small audio recording with feedback, or even worse, typing in a report and sending it to the student. So we also think, like, if you do an oral task, getting a written correction is a bit awkward, and it might not have enough. It might not take advantage of the fact that it's an oral task, and you can correct so many more things by doing an audio recording of your corrections, because you can mimic pronunciation or do many other things. So this is the way they were doing it before, and now this is what they're doing. So I remind you, watching it, taking notes, and then giving the feedback. Whereas here, they watch it, and at the same time, they provide the feedback. So there's fewer steps, right? And for learners, we thought this would be they would be getting more personalized feedback, and they would have a chance of rewatching the interaction So re-experience that communicative intent they had when they were speaking with their classmates, right? So they would have their conversation and the feedback right there. Um, I have to say that students always ask us, we do, end of term surveys, and they always ask us that they want to see their teachers more. It's an asynchronous mode, so we cannot interact with our students because students have different timetables. They sign up for our courses because they cannot be at one time at one place. So they always ask, I want to see more of my teacher. I want to get a bit more personalized feedback. And this is the way we devised, right? So we piloted it, and we checked whether asking teachers and asking students, right, with surveys, we asked if to the teacher if it was more efficient in terms of time and ease, and if it was effective to both teachers and students, uh, whether they thought it had an impact on the learning, on the motivation, on this perception about having individual feedback from your teachers, and whether the tool was easy to use and whether it had opportunities. And the results, I'm going to go over this really quick, but you can go back to the slides whenever you want. We asked if it was quicker and easier, this way of providing feedback compared with before, and overwhelmingly they said yes, it was quicker. And yes, it was easier. I have to say we surveyed 10 teachers for this and about 200 students. So teachers said yes, it was easier or about the same, so it was not worse. And just I think one teacher said it was more complicated. So 9 out of 10 is pretty good. What else did they say? We asked them whether they would want to continue using this way of giving feedback, or they would rather go back to the old way. And overwhelmingly, again, except one, they said they would like to continue using it. Right? Here are some of the comments from our teachers. So they said that it was easier and more practical, that it was more interactive and personal, right? And it felt like speaking directly to the students, which is something very important for us because we can never speak to our students directly. Also, the benefits of stopping every time a student said something that they wanted to correct. Another teacher said it's similar to face-to-face teaching, so I can give immediate feedback just when they make the mistake, and I can provide corrections without interrupting the students' flow or conversation, right? And here is what I think this has applications outside our way of teaching. I think they say also that the students, it's important that they see their own performance at the same time that they are getting the feedback. And the teacher who didn't like this so much and didn't find it interesting said that correcting too many wrong things is demoralizing for students. Of course, the teachers have a choice what to correct. This doesn't come with our system of providing feedback. It comes with the choice of the teacher to correct everything or not. It was the teacher said it's also more effective to note down serious and frequent errors and point them out to the students at the end. So he somehow or she somehow thought this was more effective. Now, what did the learners say? So learners, they were also asked how useful the feedback it was, and overwhelmingly said that it was more useful, and how useful it was compared with other terms. They also said like it was more useful here, a bit like over 50% said that. And more importantly, we asked them how many times they watch the feedback. So this is another benefit of this type of providing feedback, that students can watch it as many times as they want. And by watching it, they again relieve their communicative situation. And we believe that this has implications and this has benefits for their learning. So most of them watched it 2 or more times. If we add up the 3+ and 2 times, it's almost 75% or over 75% said they watched it more than 2 times, which is, I think, it's good, because sometimes we don't know even if our students watch or read our feedback, and we are very worried about that, like teachers doing all the effort to provide feedback and then students not watching it. We don't want that. We also, sorry, here the questions are missing. We also asked them if they wanted to continue with this way of receiving feedback, and overwhelmingly they said yes. Maybe like a couple students said no. Okay, so some of the comments from our students. So it feels closer, useful, and makes you interact more with the teacher, which is good. It's more effective and faster, both in terms of watching it and accessing it. So it was easier for them to access and rewatch. And the other thing is it allows you to detect specific errors at the exact point where they occur. I have to say these are comments from the students. They were gathered in the language, the students of the student choice. The surveys were sent out in English, Spanish, and Catalan, and I've translated a few. Some of them used English, the higher levels. So another says that watching the video, you know where you failed and the intonation you have to do. And listening to what your teacher says is also a learning experience. Again, the same in next comment. It helps contextualize the correction a lot, which is good. And also, I appreciate the effort the teachers put into it. And it's great to interact with the teacher because we students devote a lot of time in meeting and doing these tasks online and recording themselves. So it's good that the teachers are doing the same, right? Effort. And I think another good thing is that it shows the teacher's presence, which is a very important thing in online education. Also, we had a few negative comments that I write here. It's sometimes difficult to understand the teacher's pronunciation because she tends to speak too fast. Again, this is like a style of teaching, a style of providing feedback, but we don't think this is related to the tool that they are using. So we were very happy with this results of the pilot, and we are continuing to provide feedback this way. So this, the write down the conclusions a little bit. I won't go over in detail, but basically, I think with virtual classrooms and virtual ways of teaching, especially now with the pandemic, have been common ground for everyone. We need to face these practical needs and offer solutions that are relevant, that are tested, and that work. So we implemented this way of giving feedback that we think has benefits, and it has proven benefits. And I list here what I just told you before with the list of comments of the teachers, right? Also, it has some pedagogical implications, and it allows to implement this type of new way of providing feedback in a learning environment where we saw, and it blurs a bit the line between synchronous and asynchronous, which is interesting for us, and I think interesting for everyone. And it makes this feedback more meaningful and more dialogical. So there's some sense of interacting with my teacher, even if it's asynchronously done, right? We believe other settings, other online settings that are not mainly language could benefit from this type of feedback, and also face-to-face settings that do other types of tasks that involve outside the classroom, teacher using devices, recording themselves, etc. And another important implication pedagogically is not to have to interrupt the students when they speak, when they do a spoken task in the classroom or outside. And also we've seen that it seems that they find this feedback more motivating, and then they can pay more attention to the feedback, which is interesting for us. The motivation, it's interesting to avoid dropouts, which in distance education is a big issue. And the attention to the error is beneficial for language development and language acquisition. And I want to end with this picture of an agora in Aphrodisias in Turkey, and this is the agora, right? It's where the citizens' life took place in ancient Greece, right? And mainly what they were doing there is they were interacting and they were talking to one another, right? It was one of the most important places where the life was taking place and the political discussions were taking place. So it was like the most important place was the agora. And I think the most important place for us as language teacher is, to be able to provide these interactive spaces for the students to interact, but also for the teacher-student interaction. And I'm leaving a list of references here. And I want to thank you for your attention, and I will take any questions if you have them. And also, if you have questions for me, but you're not able to ask them now, you have here my contact information and my Twitter handle. And I think that's it from my part. So, all right.
Naya, thanks a lot
Okay.
for your speech.
You said that you could not hear me at some point, or?
We couldn't hear the video that you showed.
All right.
Anyway, it was good that immediately after you summarized up what was the contents of the video. So
okay.
There was not any kind of problem.
All right.
I've been also checking the chat to see if there was any feedback or comment during your speech. And I would say that people have been just listening to you, but if there is any question, that is the time, please, you can write in the chat, you can open up your microphone, you can take the advantage of having Laia here for any kind of question, doubt about this interesting speech. Otherwise, then you will be obliged to listen to me. So maybe it's better to make a question to Laia.
I have a question to Laia. Laia, thank you so much. It was really inspiring, your speech. I would like to ask you something about a problem that we have. It's about the time that we spend in providing, feedback to our students. So I was wondering, this is really wonderful to be able to, to watch our students, for example, speaking and providing instant, let's say, feedback. But how much time does this process take? Because if we have, 5 students, it is okay. But if we have 30 or even more,
yeah, we have big groups of students. We have classes up to 40 students, and they do this in groups of 2 or 3 or 4. And what we do is we ask them to select the 5 minutes of that conversation that they want the teachers to watch. So the teacher has 5 minutes of conversation that the students themselves chose. So that the time, this conversation can last 20 minutes. Sometimes they extend to half an hour. And, this way we have a way of not cutting the students, right? They can have as long as the conversation as they need, but then we ask them to choose a sample of that conversation for the teachers to grade.
Okay, that is nice. And what about the feedback? They receive a feedback on this one that you said, but generally all these different groups that are part of the classroom, do you have also an open discussion and open feedback so that all groups, know what, the basic problems they face? Because many times when we correct a group, one group, also the other group can get this feedback, and it is very useful as well.
Yes, that's a very good question. We do have something that we call whole group feedback. So we do whole group feedback at the end of each task. It's like a wrap-up task. wrap-up message, sorry, and we send it out to the forum, or we send a recording, and we give this common issues, common mistakes, or common, good points also, right? So we have this whole class wrap-up messages that the students get with that type of feedback that pertains to all of them.
Wonderful. Yes, this is really, helpful, as I see it also from practice. Okay, thank you so much for your wonderful speech.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we will be in contact. Yes.
Thanks, Maria.
To continue our discussion. Thank you so much. If you have more questions, you can contact Laia. Okay, I'm leaving the floor. Okay, to Panayotis.
Okay, so I would like to thank Laia again. We have been breathing some fresh air with her presentation, but now we have to focus on the reason why we are here. And we are here because this multiplier event is organized in the framework of the OPENLang Network European project. So going back to what Laia has been underlining, yes, effective feedback practices in online and hybrid contexts. Most of the online activities we are all familiar with are open, and the open keyword is also present within the name of the European project in the framework of which this multiplier event is organized. So in the next 10 minutes or less, I will provide you with an overview about the OPENLang Network European project, whose main results will be then presented in the upcoming speeching by my colleagues. So first of all, the OPENLang Network, the business card of this project. Some brief information about the OPENLang Network project, which is funded by the Erasmus Plus program in specific sub-program cooperation for innovation and exchange of good practices. The action within the Erasmus Plus program is the Strategic Partnership for Higher Education. The complete title of the project is Open European Languages and Cultures Network. The project started on the 1st September 2019 and will be over by the end of the current year. And the project has obviously its website, which is available at the link I'm just underlining right now. There is a double link between the OPENLang Network project and the Erasmus Plus program. First of all, the OPENLang Network project is funded by the Erasmus Plus program. In addition to this, the OPENLang Network project has its main target group represented by participants in Erasmus Plus mobilities. Before moving to this, just a few words about the Erasmus Plus program, which supports transnational partnerships among education, training, and youth institutions and organizations to foster cooperation and bridge the worlds of education and work in order to tackle the skills gaps we are facing in Europe. The Erasmus Plus program aims for strengthening the profiles of the teaching profession, supporting teachers in adopting collaborative and innovative practices, and once again, here we can find a further link to both the OPENLang Network project and the Future of Education International Conference. Then, the Erasmus Plus program aims for opening education and innovative practices in a digital era, and the word open is present as well as in the project title. The last two objectives, mainstreaming digital competence and provision across the curricula, and promoting the acquisition of skills and key competencies. So now that we have in mind this double link between the Erasmus Plus program and the OPENLang Network projects, let's try to focus on the context that this project refers to. According to both the Council of Europe and the European Union, mobility is one of the cornerstones of European society. the Erasmus Plus program is a unique opportunity to study, train, and gain work experience or volunteer abroad, and EU has decided to offer linguistic support through the online linguistic support to selected participants for studying, carrying out a traineeship or volunteering abroad in the framework of long-term mobility activities supported under Erasmus Plus K Action 1. Despite this, the lack of language competencies is still one of the main barriers to participation in European education, training, and youth programs. Based on this, we believe that there is an imperative need to create an open, authentic, social, interactive, and enjoyable language learning environment that could further support the linguistic and intercultural needs of the KA1 mobility participants. In a few words, this is the OPENLang Network project. The OPENLang Network project addresses the needs for linguistic skills and cultural awareness of Erasmus Plus KA1 mobility participants and the training needs for OER's open educational resources by language teachers. Therefore, the target groups of the OPENLang Network project are Erasmus Plus KA1 mobility participants, higher education students and staff, vocational education and training, adult and school education staff, youth learners, youth workers, youth entrepreneurs that need to boost their language skills and cultural awareness, including those who will not enroll in the online linguistic support courses. And then the second target group, volunteers language teachers, who will support the Erasmus Plus KA1 mobility participants, offering their professional experience while receiving professional certified training on the creation, sharing, and use of language open educational resources. So the OPENLang Network European project aims at connecting these two target groups in an interactive, collaborative environment that will support more efficiently their effort to raise language awareness of the target mobility EU languages and to develop European intercultural knowledge covering all EU cultures. And the second objective is fostering the open education European multicultural and multilingual vision to all the OPENLang Network members. Specific objectives of the OPENLang Network project are development of an open, highly interactive and collaborative web and mobile-based platform which will offer a variety of e-services as well as educational and cultural materials, teachers' professional development. All teachers who will voluntarily support this initiative will have the possibility to attend the massive open online course offered by the OPENLang Network and to participate in a number of activities that will broaden their professional network. The objectives I described have been and will be reached through the production of the following intellectual outputs. So, intellectual output 1, mapping the language learning profile of the Erasmus Plus KA1 mobility participants. Most of them, because there are several intellectual outputs, most of them will be in detail described and presented in the upcoming speeches. The second intellectual output is OPENLang Network Pedagogical and Design Framework. The third one, online 24 EU language placement tests. Then quality framework for language OERs, e-toolkit for open language resources and practices, development of the OPENLang Network e-platform, development of the OPENLang MOOC, learning analytics report and sustainability plan. So again, all of them will be further described, and to reach those objectives and those intellectual outputs, it was necessary to work in team. So again, we will describe later, but before doing that, I would focus on the main actors involved in producing such intellectual outputs. So I would like to focus on the partnership of the OPENLang Network project. So I will have to just change my presentation. So as I just said, I would, before moving and before specifically see together the intellectual outputs which were produced, I would like to focus on the actors involved in their production, and I would like to present the consortium, the partnership of the OPENLang Network European project. So I will avoid leaving the floor to my colleagues and then taking it back again, and I will immediately start presenting Pixel, an international education and training institution with almost 20 years of experience in international cooperation and European project management. Pixel has a specific expertise and a long experience in the following areas: organization of international education and training initiatives, direct submission and management of European projects, and the OPENLang Network is one of them, organization of international events and conferences in the field of education, and again, the Future of Education International Conference is one of them, and organization of international study visits, mobility, and exchanges. Now I will invite my colleagues and friends to present themselves and their institution. I would suggest once you start speaking, it would be better to see you. So for those who are going to participate and to present themselves and their institution, I would kindly ask to please switch on the camera. So I will immediately start with the project applicant and scientific coordinator, University of Macedonia, which is here represented by my colleague and friend, Maria Perifano. Please, Maria, if you want, I can manage your presentation or I can make you host.
You can just change the slides, and it is not me who is going to speak. Also, Anastasios Economidis,
okay.
who is okay. Anastasios, I don't know. Okay, if he's
Good morning
here.
To everyone.
Okay.
Okay. We have applied for the Erasmus grant, and we have succeeded. Maria Perifano has written the proposal, and actually she is the scientific coordinator. And we are at SMILE Lab, Smart Mobile Interactive Learning Environments, at the University of Macedonia. And we work on mobile learning, augmented reality learning, ubiquitous learning, computer assessment, computer-based assessments, learning analytics, and all this that have to do with educational technology. Some other members of our staff, besides myself and Maria, are Katerina Zafilkou, Maria Tsirogeni. All of us, we are working in this project. So, Maria, if you want to add something more.
No, it's okay. I would say just to change a little bit, because we have more slides. So you can see our university here in Thessaloniki, in the north, that is located in the northern part of Greece. You can see our university, and also we have also a picture. Can you please follow? Okay, of our SMILE lab here, and which we work on research, development, and training. And the group is large. Can you also, okay, the group, as you see here, we have these members and even more that are not here. So we are running also not only this project, but we have also other European projects running by our team. And it's always wonderful to collaborate all together in such an exciting, let's say, research works. So I'm passing the floor to the next, okay, to Alex. Okay.
Hello, I hope you can see me and hear me okay.
Yes. Yes.
Great.
Hi, Alex.
Fantastic. So, I'm Alexander Mikroyanidis. I'm a research fellow at the Open University in the UK. My expertise is in technology-enhanced learning, and specifically on personalized learning, lifelong learning, open education, and more recently on decentralization technologies and blockchain applications on education. Next slide, please. So who we are? The Open University is one of the largest universities in Europe, over 70,000 students. We teach 38% of part-time undergraduates in the UK. 1 in 8 of our students has a disability. 3 out of 4 students are already in work, are mature students. 66% of them are over 25 years old. We are truly open. We don't have any formal second opportunities of study to disadvantaged students. 55% of our students are disadvantaged in some way, and we also have ties with the industry. 60% of FTSE 100 companies have sponsored their staff on OU courses, and more than 1,000 employers in the UK use the OU learning solutions to develop skills in their workforce. Next slide, please. My institute is the Knowledge Media Institute within the Open University. We were founded in 1995. We are a strategic R&D center for the Open University. We are at the forefront of research on semantic and new media technologies. We are currently more than 90 people. We have more than 20 different nationalities in our lab, and we also have a thriving internship program. Most of our funding, 70% of our funding is external, from European projects and also from national projects. And we do a lot of grounded research, solving fundamental, providing generic solutions which are then applied to concrete user settings with high academic and user impact. And finally, we have strong ties and collaborations with blue chip companies, SMEs, universities, governments, local community charities, schools, and more. That's all from me.
I would invite the following speaker. Maybe it's going to be Antigoni or Panagiotis.
Hi, Antonio, can you see and hear us?
For this, okay, yes, I can. Oh, good to see you again, please.
Hi, everyone. Hello, my name is Panagiotis Kosmas. I am a postdoctoral researcher at Cypress University of Technology, at Cypress Interaction Lab. I'm the responsible manager for this project. I'm working together with Antigoni, which is the communication manager and risk manager for this project. I'll give the floor to my colleague Antigoni to give you further details about our organization.
Thank you, Panagiotis. So the Cypress University of Technology is participating in this project through its Social Computing Research Center and the Cypress Interaction Lab. And a little bit about the 2 entities, the Social Computing Research Center and the Cypress Interaction Lab. Next slide, please. So the Social Computing Research Center is a newly established multidisciplinary social computing research center at the Cypress University of Technology, and is committed at social computing research in a broad sense, creating a hub for high-impact multidisciplinary research in this area, addressing key societal challenges. Next slide, please. The Cypress Interaction Lab is the only research lab in Cyprus that focuses in 2 main research domains, educational technology and human-computer interaction and inclusive design. Next slide, please. So the research at Cypress Interaction Lab aims at understanding the significant and supportive and mediating role of technology in promoting learning, communication, collaboration, and social change in varied real-world contexts and settings, and produce and disseminate educational technology and HCI research with real-world impact. So the facilities include UX and accessibility equipment and interaction design and learning design equipment, which includes eye tracking glasses, and humanoid robots, lip motion controllers, multi-touch tables, Oculus Rift, interactive floors, and 3D printers. Next slide, please. So a little bit of the team. It involves academics, postdoctoral researchers, PhD students, staff, and collaborating researchers and visiting scholars. Through the years, the lab has expanded with collaborations with different labs and the research centers across the world. Next slide, please. I think we are done.
It seems it is the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So thanks, Antigone and Panagiotis. So now all the participants in this Multiplier event know a bit more about us, about the partnership of the project. I would move to the next point in our agenda, which is the presentation of the first output, the OPENLang Network Project Survey. I think it's going to be Panagiotis. Okay, I'm just uploading your presentation, and then I will leave the floor to you. It should be this presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Antonio.
Okay, please, the stage is yours, and you have more or less
10 minutes or...
Perfect. It was 15 minutes, but we are a bit late, so in 10 minutes it would be perfect. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you very much, Antonio. So it's me again. Hello to everyone. Apologies for my voice. I'm a little bit sick. It's not COVID. Don't be afraid. So I will try to give you an overview of the first output of the project. And I'll give you an idea of the research we did in order to map the language learning profile of the Erasmus Plus mobility participants under this context of K1 action. Next slide, please.
I will make you host if you want, so that you can move on your presentation. You have just to click on the arrow, just be behind, but as soon as you are host, it will be quite simple. Just a second. Now you are host, and immediately below the presentation, we'll find the arrows to move. Perfect.
Okay, great. Okay, so the overall aim of this output is not only to identify, analyze, and present the needs of the people who participated in this kind of mobility, but also to provide a piece of new knowledge and some important considerations about the profiles of those people, with the aim to emphasize the need for developing new policies and strategies to enhance the mobility in this context of Erasmus Plus and the idea of multilingualism across Europe. Our results and our conclusions from this research, I would believe that will impact the participants in this kind of mobility by informing them about some possible language and cultural requirements before the mobility. Then deliverable will be also very helpful and useful for some higher education institutions and some other key people in this area, because will help them to develop better Erasmus Plus strategies or policies in order to support the participants before and during the mobility. The methodology we used, it was a mixed research method. we have collected data from an online questionnaire and by a series of semi-structured interviews with some key people in this area of Erasmus+. First, we have created the questionnaire with the contribution of all the members of the consortium to aim to address the needs of the participants and to explore the reason to participate and their motivation, expectation, and challenges. That's why we divided the questionnaire in 4 main sections, starting from the profile and receiving some demographic data, then the language and cultural needs, some closed-up questions about the need and expectation and benefits of the mobility, and the last sections about the learning preferences in an online learning environment. The next step was the interview sessions. We decided to conduct interviews in order to collect additional information and have a clear picture of the linguistic and cultural needs of those people. We have conducted nice semi-structured interviews with key stakeholders in 3 partner countries, in Cyprus, Greece, and in Italy. Let me first start with the results from the questionnaire, just some basic results. After 3 rounds of dissemination, we have 259 fully completed questionnaires, people who participated in mobilities, responses from 32 different countries. The majority of the participants were higher education students who participate in this mobility during their undergraduate or postgraduate studies. About the duration, as you can see in the figure, the majority of the people responded to the questionnaire participated in a mobility for more than a month, while the 32% less than a month and 40.7% for 1 month mobility. We decided to include not only the long-term participants, but also the short-term participants in our data analysis, because we believe that we were going to receive also useful feedback and information also from them. About the focusing on the motivation and expectation of the mobility, it seems that the vast majority of the participants, almost the 70%, said that the main reason to participate in this kind of mobilities is to gain academic work or study experience in another European country, something that is also evident from other studies in this area. Other reasons include the improvement of academic or professional qualifications, improvement or gain language skills for specific purposes. Regarding the linguistic challenges, it seems that the biggest challenge, according to the participants, is to communicate in everyday instances in a foreign country. This was the top answer. In the second place, we have the difficulty to understand the academic language in a lecture, for example. And the third option was to understand the regional accents and dialects in a foreign country. Regarding the learning preferences, it seems that almost 69% actually, prefer the information to be presented in a visual way, using pictures, images, videos, and generally the spatial understanding. While a smaller percentage said that prefer the verbal linguistic way and the interactive way of learning, and this is something that we took into consideration when we developed our online platform. About the qualitative data that we received from the from the interviews. All the participants agree with the results from the questionnaire and emphasized the need to create new strategies and new policies in order to address these linguistic and cultural needs or barriers of the participants before the mobility, and also to create some policies based on their specific motivation and expectations of the mobility. As a conclusion, the deliverable, our results found that the participants for sure need linguistic support before the mobility. The biggest linguistic challenge during their mobility was the communication with local people in everyday instances in a foreign country. So this is the main priority of the participants. And we can claim that the linguistic needs for both outgoing and incoming participants were an important factor for an effective and successful mobility. Okay, that's all from my side. Thank you for listening. 10 minutes, okay? So next
Perfect.
line. Okay.
You come from Switzerland, not from Cyprus. Thanks a lot. If there is any question from the audience, otherwise I will take back the power within this session, and I will upload a new presentation, which is the one that's going to be done by Alex. Are you there?
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Please confirm that the one that you are going to see in a few seconds is the presentation that you just want to.
Yes.
Perfect. Maybe there are some just editing problems in modifying the format, but it won't be a big issue. And I will also make you host so that you can easily move. As you can see, just below the presentation, you'll find the arrows, and the stage is yours. Thanks.
Excellent. Thanks, Antonio. So within this presentation, I'll very quickly give a taste of what we have developed as the core platform of our project. So the OPENLang Network platform essentially implements all the theoretical principles and the theoretical framework of our project, and it aims at connecting language teachers and language learners in the context of Erasmus Plus mobility. So a very brief overview of our platform. It is a multi-service online environment which offers a variety of services, including a personal members dashboard, an Tandem language learning matching service for 24 European languages, an open and highly interactive forum, a European database of language open education courses of high quality, training MOOC materials on OERs for language teachers, and finally, it has a responsive design which can be accessed through different devices, laptops, tablets, smartphones, and more. So you can see in this slide some of the design principles that have driven the implementation of the OPENLang Network platform. First of all, openness. The platform promotes an open approach for language learning, teaching, and community support. Secondly, customization. The platform is dynamic and flexible and offers different ways for customization of both its front end and also its back end. Third, interoperability. This is achieved by supporting standard specifications for importing and exporting educational data. The mobile interface that the platform offers allows mobility participants that do not always have access to a desktop or a laptop computer and need access to the platform from different European countries, and while traveling, this interface allows them to do that. And finally, community support is quite important, receiving support from a community of developers that regularly update the code base in order to fix bugs and security holes, plus also to deliver new features. So this is the front page of our. This might seem familiar to you when exploring it. It is based on Moodle, which has been enhanced with some additional features. These are the main areas, the main services that we offer through the platform. First of all, the Openland programming, and we'll talk more about it in a minute. Secondly, the language placement tests. These are placement tests for free for all 24 European languages. And in order to determine your language proficiency level, then Tandem language learning, as soon as you have determined your language proficiency level, then you can start finding partners in order to learn a language together. Then we have recommended language open educational resources. These are open educational resources of high quality that the consortium partners have picked and offer to the community. We have also suggested language open educational resources that have been shared by the community. And finally, we have an area for community discussions where anyone can ask questions. For example, if they are interested in going to a particular country, if they are already in a country and need some help and advice, this is the place to. So in the next few screens, I'll just show some snapshots of the platform, so that you get a flavor, a taste of what we offer in each of these in each of the services that I just mentioned. So first of all, in terms of the Tandem Learning Partners service, this is a snapshot of the interface where you can explore what language level the community members that have a certain language level in a certain language, and customize your search, and you can target specific members. You can find specific partners that have a certain language proficiency level and are on a time zone that is close to yours, so that then you communicate with them and start practicing your language skills together. In the next slide, you can see the interface for finding language open educational resources. So we have a faceted interface again, similar to the previous one I showed you, but this is a bit more complex because it has several more facets or filters. You can specify, for example, the authors of the open educational resource. You can filter by the resource type, the language, the target language, the language proficiency level, the license of the OER, the duration of the OER, and also the skills that you'll acquire by studying this OER. So this is a very detailed search interface, very rich in allowing certain customizations, so that you target your search and find the results and the OER that are best suited to your needs. In the next slide, we can see a detailed view of an OER, which is available on the platform. So you can see here that you have quite a wide range of metadata about, for example, the description of the OER, its keywords, authors, resource type, etc. You can also rate this resource, so you can, in this way, you can recommend it to other participants, to other members of the platform, and you can also provide your comments and your feedback about this resource. And in order to promote the sharing of open educational resources among the members of our community, we also offer a range of badges. Once you start uploading, once you upload your first resource to the platform, you are a junior uploader, and you receive the first badge in your series, which can be prominently displayed on your profile. And then as you continue uploading, you are then a senior uploader when you upload 5 open educational resources, and a super uploader once you have reached the once you have uploaded your 10th operational resource. So what are the next steps of this work? We will be engaging the community of language learners and teachers through a dedicated MOOC, which will be delivered through our platform. And all MOOC participants will be invited to use the services offered by the platform and provide their feedback, which will be used to further improve the services that we offer. So I would invite you all to have a look at the platform. I will also paste the link in the chat so that you can have easy access to it. As I mentioned before, the platform is open to the public. You don't need to be a member, a participant of the Erasmus Plus Mobility Program to join. And we value very much your feedback, so please have a look and let us know what you think. That's all from me. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Alex. And to be honest, I've been studying a lot the website as I was involved in the production of a promotional video, and then going back to the memory of when I used to be a student, I have to admit that such an advanced and innovative tool was not available, obviously, but it was far from any kind of imagination of what would have been our future in terms of education. So thanks for this presentation. Yes, the platform is available here, and we can move to the next presentation before the break. We are just 1 minute late. Next presentation is going to be Maria.
We are on time.
Yeah, I can't believe that. So the presentation of the second intellectual outputs, OPENLang Network Pedagogical Design and Framework. First of all, let me upload the presentation, and then I will leave the floor to you.
Thank you, Antonio. Just waiting.
Yeah, it will take a few seconds.
Okay, so I would like also to welcome other people I see here. We have more participants, so, and also to introduce again myself. I'm Maria Perifano, and I'm senior researcher at the SMILE Lab of the University of Macedonia. And I'm going to present the idea behind this nice platform that was presented by Alex. So here we will see. Okay, I think I can change the slide.
Yes,
thank you very
now
much,
you are
Antonio.
presented.
Okay, so I will briefly describe to you how I designed with my colleagues the OPENLang Network Pedagogical and Design Framework. Okay, I will pass this in order not to spend time. Okay, so an introduction. One thing that it is really important to know, it is that teaching languages online requires skills that are different from those used to teach languages in face-to-face classroom, and it is also different from teaching other subjects online. This is what Humble and Stickler say, and this is something that we know, and it's really difficult to design also a platform that could provide this kind of services and facilitate language learning. So if you see here, there is this skills pyramid that it is proposed by Humble and Stickler. And you can see here that online language teaching skills that are needed are many. And as you see here, there's a kind of pyramid from the most general skills, forming a fairly broad base to, as you see here, from individual to personal style. So if you see here, there are many different skills that a language teacher should have. But what was the challenge for us was to think about the difficulties, but also the challenge was how about designing an online language learning environment with all these services, let's say, and all these characteristics that will help and assist language learners to learn a language online. So our research aim, the main challenge, as you see here, was to design the Open Networks Pedagogical and Design Framework first, and then to design this open language learning environment which could provide multiple types of interaction for learners. So one of the main challenges of the design of this framework was to provide the opportunity to each learner for social interaction, language learning, input and output, authenticity, exposure, feedback, and learning autonomy, which are key factors for a successful language learning. So let's see a little bit our methodology. So what we did first of all was a literature review on the theoretical background on the online language education. That was the first step. Also, what we did was what Panayotis presented before. We got the results of the OPENLang Network Needs Analysis Survey, and we analyzed the needs of all these language mobility language learners, and also we analyzed the findings of the interviews. So based on all these, let's go and give you some information about the results of each of these steps. So according to the literature review, there is a variety of theories, such as a major learning theory, second language acquisition theories, foreign language acquisition theories, e-learning theories that are applied in different combinations to online language learning and teaching practice, according to the technical affordances and the pedagogical goals in every case. So there is not only one choice, but there is a blend of different, let's say, theories that are implemented. There are also interesting frameworks and models which can be applied in the context of computer-assisted language learning, depending on different educational goals. Frameworks and models related to social constructivism theories and connectivism are preferred in the context of COL because they promote task-based learning, social interaction, authentic learning, collaborative learning, personalized, autonomous, and self-directed learning, social learning, which are crucial for learning a second or foreign language. Here I have a slide where I have just integrated and clustered in a way these pedagogical some of the pedagogical models that can be applied in online language learning and teaching practice. And you can see that more or less those that are really, as I said, most preferred are those based on constructivism, social constructivism, collaborative learning. As far as the survey and the interviews are concerned, we see, as Panayotis said, we did a survey and interviews in 3 different countries, Greece, Cyprus, and Italy. And we found out there's a big need for linguistic support via training, seminars, or language courses for both outgoing and incoming participants. In fact, these findings on the OPENLang Network Survey can confirm previous research findings that have shown that the development of language proficiency and exploring a different culture are the main reasons to participate in an Erasmus mobility. So one of the things that we found was that, and also other research findings showed that they were also really it's really important for the design, and it's also very important for the design of the Openlang Network Pedagogical Framework. Was that the first that the participants gave priority in advancing specifically their listening and communication skills as well as their general vocabulary, and secondly, the participants preferred social learning, intercultural communication, and networking in an interactive multimedia environment. In fact, all participants expressed the need for networking and collaboration between participants in the Erasmus K1 mobility in order to achieve cultural understanding and intercultural communication, as well as to build friendships or even professional opportunities for the future. So based on all these findings, we came up with the philosophy. We found the philosophy behind the design of the Openlang Network Pedagogical Framework that was in fact based on this and the results of the analysis of the questionnaire and interviews, and based on these findings that we had that we received from the literature review. The framework was inspired by a learner-centered social constructivism and connectivist pedagogical paradigm, blending, in fact, a variety of pedagogical approaches and instructional strategies that are derived from the areas of COL, e-learning, second language acquisition, and foreign language learning. As you see here, there are different, as you see that we have different theories like community learning theory, collaborative learning, active theory. So we, in a way, blended and different theories. So here you can see the Openlang Network Pedagogical Framework, and in this one, as you see, in this environment that we designed, we try to provide multiple types of interaction to learners who belong in a community of language practice. As you see, the learner is in the center. It's learner of this environment is seen as an autonomous learner who can use the open educational material content, but also as a learner who can interact with other peers and or with the teacher in one-to-one, pair, or in small groups, or even in a bigger community. The learners, as you see here, are placed at the center of the Openlang Network online language learning environment, and all learners are free to take their own personalized learning paths, as it presented here in this diagram. So as you see, based on these theories that we saw, we tried to integrate the platform, different kind of activities and different kind of interactions. So they can do different activities. Let's go and see here in a more specific way. The learners can select the mode of interaction and collaboration that they prefer. It can be, as you see around here, it can be autonomous, it can be one-to-one, pair-to-pair, one-to-many. Choose among the available tools and services offered by the platform, and control the amount of open material on the use, creation, and share of language OERs. As you see here, I will try to connect this with what Alex said before. There is when they enter in this platform, the learners can test their language level, as you see here. So this is a self-paced autonomous, let's say, interaction. They can study about the OER and all this. So this is also again self-paced autonomous learning. They also can create and share their own open educational resources, but they have also the possibility, the opportunity to do peer-to-peer learning, choosing, finding a language teacher as a partner, or finding another language student to learn in tandem. But also there is an open forum, and this is why we have here the community learning. One idea that we have is that this could be the first phase, to see how this can work. And the second phase is just to, not to have only one-to-one, as we saw before, the tandem language learning, but also we have added also learning in small groups, find your language teachers or peers. So how about working together in groups? So that was the idea behind our platform, the design of the pedagogy. In fact, this is what we see here. And here we can see the OPENLang Network Design Framework, where you can see the flow. We have, as you saw, we started with exploration of the pedagogical approaches and models. Then we explored and decided about the instructional strategies and methods. So what kind of strategies will be we can implement. And then in the end, we explored and tried to find what kind of technologies could support this learning experience. So concluding, this is my last slide. The conclusions basically from all the research that we did is that there is not a single core theory for online language learning and teaching, but there are a variety of theories, and it's a blend of theories that we can apply in order to design such an environment. So more or less, the framework and the pedagogical models that are applied are mostly adapted from the field of e-learning, inspired by a blend of theories, but we haven't found something that it is totally based on language learning. And then what is important is that the design of a highly interactive online language learning environment entails a consideration of number of factors. As you see, the needs, you need to consider the needs of the target groups, the pedagogical implications, and the technical affordances in the online environment. So all of them are really important when you plan to design such an environment. And it's also really interesting, and I have written this again, about the reasons that mobility students want to take this Erasmus mobility is, first of all, as you see here, the development of language proficiency and learning and exploring, in fact, a different culture. And also, what it is also important is that, and we have seen that, is that they need to have access to this language, let's say, environment and training before, during, and after the mobility. So it is good for us because we offer a service that is open to everyone, as Alex said before. And we hope that we will support Erasmus mobility students and to take advantage of all the services that we have created. So I have finished. Antonio. Okay, but we had a big break. Okay, I know.
No, it's okay. It's perfectly fine. So thanks, Maria, for this presentation.
Thank you all. If you have any questions,
we started at 9:10. It is 11:10, so after 2 hours,
okay,
I think it would be useful for all of us to just take a break, drink a coffee, smoke some cigarette, or just breathe some fresh air, or do all the three things together. I don't know.
Move around.
Or move around. And I will see you all, and I hope you will be there, and I hope there will be more participants, because we have been enrolling participants also until a few minutes ago. So I will see you here at 11:30. I won't close the room. So we will meet here in 20 minutes, because we will start again with the second keynote speech of this Multiplier event by Carmen Olotescu. And I already thank her for this interesting cooperation contribution to the Multiplier event. And then there will be the presentation of other 4 intellectual outputs by partners in the OPENLang Network projects. And we will have some late minutes to summarize up and just close this Multiplier event. For the instance, enjoy your break and see you in 20 minutes. Thanks.